Welcome back to in this series of MATLAB. I am Pankaj Patil, and from this video we are going to work on program controls, and in this video we are going to work on if statement. So let's get started. So if statement is basically stands for decision or branching. When we need to make some decisions, then we uses if statement. Suppose we have example of food and we need to decide whether that food eat or not depending on their proteins. So on that time we need to make some conditions, and when it comes to computer, then computer need to decide depending on that condition. So that condition we uses as expressions, and we uses if statement. So like that we decides using computers. So let's move toward program control. So now we are going through program control in some of next videos. Program control contains two categorical type, one of which is decision or branching. Decision is simply means for branching, and in decision we have if end statement, if else statement, end statement, else end statement, nested if statement, switch statement, and nested switch statement. Second type of which is loop. We simply uses loop for problem comes to iterative process. In that we have for loop. For loop is good when we work with numbers, and nested for loop means for loop inside a for loop, and while loop is good when we work on characters or words, and nested while loop means while loop inside while loop. So here we have flowchart of our if loop. So if condition is true, then it executes conditional code. If condition is false, then it goes to another option which is else or else if, and then it executes conditional code of them. So these are the syntax of if loop. So in if statement, first comes if, then expression, then on next line we have statement and semicolon, then end our statement. In if else end statement, we have if expression, and then on next line we can add our statement, then semicolon, then on next line you can add else, and then statement second, and then semicolon, and then you can end our statement. Here we have another which is if else end statement. So first if expression, then statement, then you can add semicolon, then else if, then expression for the else ifs, then add our second statement, then semicolon, then else, and then statements and semicolon and end. So now we are going to work on example of if statement. In that, suppose we have some students and our program is need to display when student is going to pass or fail, or when student have got first class. So let's continue with our example. So now let's add script file and let's save it as studentx.m. Now let's say x equal to input, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, enter your marks in string format. And let's add semicolon and enter. And let's add comment as code for finding students academic status. Then let's go to next line. So let's add a if x is lower than 14, f printf open parenthesis, close parenthesis, string format, fail, and then add, then go to second line. Now let's add else, f printf pass. Means if student have lower than 40 mark, then he is going to fail. If he don't have lower than 40 mark, means he have more than 40 marks, then he is going to pass. Now suppose we want to add when student is going to get first class. So for that we need to add Elseif condition. So let's add Elseif after if statement. And now we need to add expression for Elseif, which is if x is greater than 60, means if x have more than 60 mark, then a printf open parenthesis close parenthesis in string format, pass comma first class. Now let's save this code and run this code. So here it asks for enter your mark, so let's enter 35, so it gives fail. Now again run this code and add different marks, which is 45, so it gives pass. Now again run and let's add your marks as 80, so now this gives pass first class. So our code is working good. So now we are going to work on one more example. So now suppose we have the airplane and capacity of airplane is 853 passengers and 24 crew members. So on depending on that we need to make decision whether our aircraft is ready to fly or not using if statement. So now let's add script file and save the script file as airplane x.m. Now in that script file let's add comment as code for airplane example, and now let's add x equal to input open parenthesis close parenthesis enter number of passenger, means we are getting our x as input, means we are asking for user for number of passengers. And now let's add semicolon, let's say y equal to input open parenthesis close parenthesis in string format enter number of crew members, and then colon and semicolon and press enter. Now let's add if statement. If in open parenthesis close parenthesis x is equal to 853 and y is equal to 24 is equal to 1, means when we have equal number of passengers and equal number of crew members as our need, then we are ready to fly. So let's say display open parenthesis close parenthesis in string format you are ready to fly. You are ready to fly. Now let's press enter and add else statement and display you are not ready to fly, means if our condition is not satisfied then we are not ready to fly. So let's copy our first line and then edit it and let's make it as you are not ready to fly. Now suppose we have more than number of our capacity of passengers and crew members, so we need to display this thing also, so we need to add this thing else if statement. So now let's add else if statement after if statement. So add else if and expression is like open parenthesis close parenthesis x is greater than 853 or y is greater than 24 equal to 1, then display. means any one condition from both is true, then it is going to print true, and true equal to true, then it is going to display reduce a number of passengers or crew. So we're done with our code. Now let's save it and run it. Now let's enter number of passenger as 50, enter number of crew as 21. So we have lower than our capacity, so it prints you are not ready to fly. Now let's run it again. Now let's enter number of passengers as 900 and enter number of crew as 25. We have more than our capacity, so it prints reduce the number of passengers or crew. Now let's run this code again. And let's print up number of passengers as 853 and let's print crew as 24. So it prints you are ready to fly. So we're done with our code.